Hello guys, my name is SoulArts. Welcome back to another video. I just want to get this off my chest. I am on vacation currently, so if I sound any different, that is why. But as you know, I still got to get these videos out, still got to entertain y'all, still got to do my job, and I love doing it. So with that being said, we have a Emerald video, and let's just get directly into it. Now I want to start this off by saying Emerald is cool. I love Emerald as a character. I don't think I have many issues with Emerald as a character. She has a really amazing design and she has a really cool semblance. These things make her really dope, make her really cool, and I think she just was set apart from the rest of the villains, especially with her personality towards early RWBY. Her being snarky, playful, a little bit teasing, and the dynamic between her and Mercury was something that was really dope. So where did this kinda all go wrong in my personal opinion? She has a useful semblance, and we've seen it used in multiple important instances in beginning RWBY and middle RWBY. However, the semblance is a worse version of Neapolitan's semblance. I'ma just keep it a $1.50. I love Neo. As you know, she's my wife, and you know, I just love the character. Very relatable, very cool, whatever. But let me say this, I am not going to glaze, dick suck, whatever you want to call it. I'm not, we not doing that around here. Everything Emerald Semblance can do, Neo can do. Emerald Semblance only works on one and or a little bit of multiple people, and maybe when she's pushed to very strong emotions, she can make an entire room see that hallucination. Now let's think about Neo's semblance. Okay, well, she can create anything she wants that her mind allows, and they affect all senses. You can touch the clone. I mean, we don't know this, but you could probably taste the clone, you can probably smell the clone, you can probably, you know, do everything with the clone. This works with everyone, not just one person, and she can do this at a higher caliber without the use of high emotions. I love Emerald. She's a cool character and she has a cool semblance, but then you have Neo, another character I love, with a semblance that is practically just Emeralds but powered up. So the only thing that's separating those two characters is what they do and how good are they as characters. And Neo's a main villain, Emerald isn't. And that brings me into the next thing, plot relevance. Emerald was extremely relevant in the Vital Festival. Fast forward, she was needed to be Cinder's voice after she got defeated by Ruby Rose. And then at Haven Academy, once Cinder loses, she summons Salem. We see her semblance take full effect. Team RWBY gets to meet Salem, la-di-da-di-da. But let's take a few steps back. She did all of this for Cinder. Now, we don't know the details between Emerald and Cinder. The only thing we know is that Cinder, seen Emerald as a thief, took her in. We don't know if threats followed, if there was a promise of love, if there was, you know, promise of food, luxury, fame, etc., etc. We don't know these things, but we know Emerald cares deeply for Cinder. Now, I don't blame Emerald for caring about Cinder. After all, if I'm a street rat with nothing to survive, with no food, no nothing, and somebody out here promises me some food, I'ma sit there and be eternally grateful. Yeah, you got me off of the streets. And yeah, she's still a thief. Yeah, she still does what she does, but I'll be eternally grateful to that person, so I understand it from that standpoint. I feel like there has to be something more with a relationship than just I gave you food and I got you off the streets. And I understand getting somebody off the streets is a big thing, but I feel like it needs to be shown. I feel like it has to be given. And this is coming from a relationship where we don't even know if these characters are like mentors, students. We don't know anything of that nature. We just know Emerald cares a lot about Cinder, but we don't know why, and our only confirmation is that she got her off the street, but we don't even know how bad her street life was. We can assume, but we don't know. And we don't know how Cinder got her off of the street. Did Cinder cook for her? Did Cinder teach her new things? Did Cinder pay for her stuff? What did she do to give her this purpose, to make her feel this way? It's very confusing, and I don't know how to feel about it. And speaking of dynamics, we have Mercury and Emerald, where their dynamic felt very sibling-like. It felt very playful, and I understand the the tone shifts for these volumes. Volume 1 and 3 have a completely different tone from, you know, volume 7 and 8 and 9. I understand that. But they don't get much scenes together, and like the last scene they got, it was a argument where Mercury told her Cinder doesn't care for you. And I get that's probably the most kindest thing he said because it was him being realistic and honest with her, and it's probably what she needed to hear. But it just didn't have the same feeling that we're used to. When these two are together, usually you get something, but it feels like we haven't got much. And this is very weird coming from two characters who were introduced practically together and were always together volume 1 through 3. So to see them be together for the Haven stuff but not have many dialogue together and being with each other and things of that nature. And then you go to volume 7 and 8 and they also don't have much together. Like they look out for each other, and that's very cool. I really do enjoy that, but besides that, it's not much. It's very sporadic. So what does Emerald do after volume 3? It's kind of just be Cinder's bootlicker, and you could probably say that's her entire character. I love Cinder, you saved me, la-di-da-di-da. But it felt like Emerald had some sort of purpose, and I'm not saying she had to beat the big bad. I'm not saying those things. She could still be a small time level crook following orders in the cycle of wheel that we do have, but she just didn't have that much of a field. It just didn't feel like she was explored much. It feels like volume 1 through 3 we got the truest versions of Emerald, and then afterwards she just became Cinder's bootlicker. And the only way I could excuse her being a Cinder bootlicker is for volume 4 and 5 when Cinder's voice is recovering. I think that makes sense. But when Cinder gets attacked and her semblance loses control, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be there, because why does Cinder hold that much weight to you? We don't understand. And maybe we don't understand is a bad way to phrase that. We know Cinder means a lot to her. We don't see why Cinder means a lot to her, and that's the issue. And then after that, she just follows behind Cinder wherever she goes. Cinder, 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 Cinder. Cinder's doing this, Emerald wants to follow behind. If Cinder's doing this, Emerald wants to follow behind. And like I said, we don't know the relationship between these characters, and I'm not saying it has to be romantic, but do you view her as like a mother, a sister, somebody that has power? What do you view from her? I think every character should have a dynamic. Ren and Nora, we understand that dynamic. Roman and Neo, those are partners in crime. Maybe you could say siblings. I'm not considering them lovers. You could actually suck my dick. I know people like gelato. I don't like gelato. La-di-da-di-da. I'm not considering them lovers at all. Those are siblings to me. But every character has a dynamic, and for Cinder and Emerald, we don't know much besides Emerald fawning over Cinder for no reason. So what is Emerald's story? With Roman, we at least knew he had a goal or what he was going for. If you read the books, or if you didn't read the books, you at least enjoyed him as a character and felt like he was just a crook in a large scheme that he wasn't informed about. But Emerald doesn't have that same thing at all. Emerald just feels like she's tossed wherever she wants to be. And that leads me into this next point. Bad redemption. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to jump out and say, oh, but we knew she was going to be redeemed. There were signs. And I understand that there were signs of her being redeemed. There were signs that she wasn't really fully into this villain stuff to begin with. But I think that's the start of redemption. Realizing, hey man, this shit ain't for me, or realizing we've done bad, or realizing, hey, maybe I should pull out of this. I think those are common signs to show that redemption is coming and redemption may happen. But I think the worst thing they did was how they executed it. I'm not sitting here and saying her realizing these things and her mistakes and how bad everything is going is a bad thing. I think that's perfectly fine. But I think when she's easily accepted over the principle of fear, I think that's bad. Also, I think it depends on how much we show that character struggle, the things we see that character go through. I think that, with also their remorse, their guilt, their actions, their mistakes, showcase that redemption. With Emerald, we don't get that, and let's compare it to some characters I love that have went through redemption. First off, Zuko. With Zuko, we see him aiming to change constantly, but he keeps falling back into his base desire. He keeps giving into rage. Every time he tries to change, he makes makes another mistake, and he regrets it. Fast forward, he has a disguise and he starts to see how firebenders are, the history, the lies, what he was told versus what he's seen, the world. We're seeing him see this in real time. We're seeing him be judged for his actions just for being part of the Fire Nation. When he wishes to be part of the main group, he doesn't just mess up once, he messes up multiple times, and he tries to sit there, repent, he tries to sit there, ask for forgiveness, tries to find it within himself, tries to find it within the group. And after giving that forgiveness, he sits there and tries to help each member with something to try to prove himself, to simply just sit here and say, okay, the trial and error you seen me go through, the mistakes I've run through, and my word, now that you believe, I'm going to put that into actions and show you. These are things Emerald hasn't done. Emerald hasn't seen the cause of her mistakes. Emerald hasn't regretted these cause of mistakes. Emerald hasn't messed up on her change and path to redemption to then constantly come back and constantly fight. She hasn't did any of that. And let's compare it to another character like Endeavor from My Hero Academia. Obviously these two cases are different, but we see a man who's done wrong, who's done terrible, who is sitting there crying, fighting, trying to be accepted for his family, trying to atone for his sins, trying to be a better person. And even if you wish to forgive him or not, even if his family wishes to forgive him or not, it's about the attempt, it's about the passion, it's about the want, it's about the need. He's trying his hardest to change, and that's why you could feel something for him. Even if you don't respect what he's done, even if you don't respect him as a character, it's the fight. And we see that at the end of the day, when he tries to fight for his family, when he tries to sit there, prove himself to his family, he still has to atone for those consequences. He still has to sit there and face that fight regardless, because his mistakes and those consequences still have weight. Even someone like Hunter from Owl House, that character goes through many mistakes. And like I said, these characters are vastly different, but the process of redemption is practically the same. And these are the things that make a good redemption. She hasn't faced consequences for her actions. Remember, this is the same girl that got Penny killed. This is the same person that worked for Cinder who got Pyrrha killed. This is the same person that worked for Cinder and got Weiss stabbed and impaled. This is the same person whose master and or boss and or however she feels about someone has demeaned the entire cast. I'm not saying she has to atone for every sin that Cinder did, but when you've been supporting them for this long, and when you've sat there and lent a hand in a lot of the things she's did, whether it be the maidens, the attacks, the stealing, things of that nature, you do have to hold some accountability and responsibility, and it feels like this character doesn't have that. I understand the attempt they were trying to go for, and I understand the seeds they planted beforehand, but the execution and doing it so fast felt more rushed, felt more forced, and it felt like it needed to be done. But now we have a question. What's gonna happen with Emerald after this? She just betrayed Cinder, just betrayed Salem, and you're still a well-known criminal. Are you going to sit here and be a good guy and people are just going to accept you? Are you going to face those consequences? What about the main group? Are you going to face those consequences? And if you do face those consequences, what are you building towards? Are you building towards being a more important character in the story that could attribute to anything? And if you're not, are you just going to be a background character now that rots and fades away after getting your redemption? I think when you redeem a character, there has to be a purpose, there has to be a reasoning, there has to be a story for it. But for me, I can't see any story and or reasoning for Emerald becoming a good guy besides being a good guy. Obviously, there are avenues to go with, whether it be with Mercury, whether it be with Cinder, but I don't see them writing towards that goal. So what is Emerald's plan? What is Emerald's purpose? It's very confusing, and this is why I believe it's a bad redemption. Anyways, that's the end for this video. I'm glad I kind of got more passionate towards the end there. I don't really be trying to get that passionate because I talk for long and la-di-da-di-da, but I like the energy I gave. I like all those things, so you know, it was better than being, I think, chill at the beginning. So yeah, with that being said, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, just wrap it up fast. So peace.